They're just realizing here we're on the internet, and we're connecting people all over the world. So where are they? In simple terms, where are they? Like we said, Macedonia, Virginia, Puerto Rico, different parts of Florida, Hong Kong, Portland. But in this very moment, where are they all? They're right here, right? We're all together. We're all together. What's the difference between you and I being here, let's say physically together, and all these people being online, and we're together and we're hearing and speaking and getting the same energy at the same moment? What's the difference? There is only one difference. Yeah, in other words, you've already transcended it, but for the people who may be newer, what's the real difference? Consciousness, right? Some of us at various times we get caught in the illusion of time, space, and motion, right? I'm late for the event, I'm late here, this and this. What are we saying then? Right? We're not in the place we wanted to be in the time we wanted to be. So we give in and we give power to time, space, and motion. Here we are using something physical, relatively physical, the internet, and we just transcend here. Now we got Australia, just showed up. How fast could you get to Australia if you left right now?
24 hours, 18 hours.
Okay, because you're answering, I'm going to give him the other answer. No, in a microsecond, you go online, like this. We got Stefan from Australia, right? So we're technically in Australia, are we not? Australia's here. Macedonia's here. This is the new awakening that we want to have, is to be able to grasp that, especially with what we're going to talk about today. So remind me if I don't get there, because I'll go like, Libra. I'll go all over the world, like I'm doing right now. So welcome to Spiritual Sunday. Welcome back from wherever you were. Also, relativity. Was I gone or were you gone?
We were all gone.
No, right? Einstein's relativity. Did I leave or you leave? I used to tell people, no, I just floated up a little bit and the earth moved and you guys went away. Right? And then I floated up a little bit, the earth moved again, and here we are again. Right? It's all consciousness. So while we're on that, so let's do our affirmation. Those of you online, you can do it with us. Those of you here, let's read it together, injecting a higher level. Let it infuse deeper in our heart and soul this awareness. Consciousness is everything. I raise my consciousness today to see the miracles and wonders of life. I commit myself to behave with greater love, compassion, and kindness towards all human beings. Right? Raising my consciousness to what? The miracles and wonders of life. How appreciative were you when you woke up this morning? Yeah, see, we don't always think about it. You think you wake up, I have to go to the bathroom, it's another day. Maybe during the week I have to get to work. Oh my goodness, I forgot to do this, that, or the other thing yesterday. But do we really stop for the moment and say, I appreciate the fact that I was able to wake up? Because there are a lot of people in this world didn't wake up this morning. And I don't mean just that they're sleeping. They're not going to wake up for the rest of the day, or that's it. Their soul left this world. So they're not waking up physically at all. So we have to really appreciate that. How many of you had a car accident getting here? Nobody. So when you drove here and you parked in the parking lot, did you have any thanks or appreciation for the fact you didn't have an accident? Or a fender bender, anything like that? No, we just drove like we assume is always going to happen, right? You go to sleep at night assuming you're going to wake up. You get in your car assuming you're going to get where you're supposed to go. Where you're going, you're assuming certain things are going to happen. And I don't want to say it online, but if you take the word assume apart, some of you are familiar with that, what that means. Okay. All right. Okay. Before I go to a whole new topic, I want to stick to what we're sticking to. So how many of you ever been in, and if you're currently there, adjust accordingly. But how many of you ever felt you were in love? Right? Oh, wow, so great. And then how many of you fell out of love? The same thing. Woo! And then you found somebody else and you fell in love again. And then you fell out of love. Right? Crazy making. What about the rest of you? You're not sure? Okay. But you understand? So think about it. what do they usually say? You know, love is, why doesn't the word come to me now?
All this family.
Like this, you know, it's an emotional roller coaster, up, down, up, down, up, down. You don't even have to say love, but love is our topic today. So we're sticking to it, but think of other things. You ever been angry? Yes, angry. Did you ever overcome the anger or stop the anger? Yes. Did it go away? Then it came back again? Yes. And then it went away again? You think of every emotion we've ever had is come and gone, come and gone, come and gone. How many times have we thought, and okay, I have to make that another spiritual Sunday. So let's get to the topic, love. Oh, yeah, okay. So love, because it happens to be Tuesday night, Wednesday is the full moon of Leo. And the Kabbalists teach us that the full moon of Leo is the only full moon of the year. If you know a little astrology, the sun rules over 1 month and 1 month alone, which is the month of Leo. So the full moon exists in every month, but there's only 1 month where there's a full moon that's connected to the sun itself, is the full moon of Leo. So the Kabbalists explain to us then, this is what we call the Kabbalistic Valentine's Day, the day of love, because the sun corresponds to the light, the moon corresponds to the vessel. So all the frames of that between a person and the infinite light of the Creator, a person and their own soul, people and other people, as we're going to get to, you know, really what love is, but it's the ultimate opportunity for us to access this power of what we'll come to understand, hopefully in a deeper way, what love is. What love is. But just to start putting that in our mind. So the Bible tells us you should love God with all your heart, all your soul, and all your might. Okay? Don't ask me to quote, I could look it up, but you look it up. So the Kabbalists ask the question, if love is an emotion, like we just talked about, how can it be a commandment, a precept to love God? I mean, even like we just acknowledged, we can't always control our emotions, right? Things happen and we're triggered into an emotion. So how can they tell us you must love the Creator? So we're going to start to understand in a somewhat different way, but at least to remind you, if you haven't taken Kabbalah 1 in a while, this proactive formula. So whether it's love or what have you, something comes along, something happens, someone says something, something occurs. It triggers something inside of us. We call it push our buttons, right? Which means be aware, the button is already there. If somebody's pushing my button, it means I have a button. If I don't have a button, can they push my button? No. So if I don't have a button of anger, you can't push my button of anger. You can't make me angry or jealous or fearful or whatever it might be. So we learn once something pushes our buttons and the emotion wells up, we have something called the proactive formula, which essentially, what do? Pause. The moment we're triggered, pause, stop. Do not let your emotion control your action. Pause. Yes, identify the emotion, because that's all your soul wants you to understand. You still have light that's hiding. Your soul's light, your soul's blessing. Clarity, guidance, but it's hidden in a cover of that emotion. So if anger has been triggered, anger is a small, thin curtain, veil, over the light of patience, forgiveness, tolerance, which will bring you your next blessing. So that's why we've got to pause, identify the emotion, and then you simply act in the opposite. In this case, if it's anger, you do an action of kindness, forgiveness, tolerance, what have you. If you're triggered with jealousy, you pause, identify you're feeling jealous, because that's your energy force. The light is infinite, so that's all the power we've got. There is no power of jealousy. There's the power of gratitude, misused, misdirected into jealousy, because of that thin veil of jealousy that covers the light of gratitude, appreciation. So our job, what we learned, pause, identify its jealousy, and then metaphorically peel away the layer of jealousy by doing what? Doing the action on your next highest level, because we all have a certain amount of gratitude or appreciation, but when you're feeling jealous, it's to help you go to the next level of that. So you peel away the layer of jealousy, and now you act with a higher level of gratitude for your own blessings and even happiness for their blessing, the one that you were just jealous of in the moment. Because it's beneficial to you. It's not because you're a moral, ethical, spiritual person. Okay, I shouldn't be jealous. I'll be happy for their good. No, I benefit. More light shining out of me. Everywhere I go and everything I do is now more enlightened. So pause, identify what you're being triggered, and then act in its opposite. Which means then we are not letting those emotions control us. We are deciding consciousness is everything, and we are deciding, one, to pause, and in that pause, activating my free will to act in its opposite, to decide how I want to act. So I want us, at least in this fundamental way, to understand we can control our emotions and not be controlled by them. If you're not sure, just think of the days you wake up in the morning and you don't want to go to work and you don't want to face what you have to do at work, but you do it anyway. Is that not the same? Control over your emotions. Your emotion says, stay home, stay in bed, whatever, but you get up and you go to work anyway. Why? Because there's a benefit. You've decided there's a greater benefit to go to work, and whatever will come from going to work versus staying home and staying in bed. So wherever you have a greater reward, that's where you're going to act. And this is where that opponent keeps getting us. When we pause, even after we're triggered, now we're making the decision. What's more valuable to me? Scream and yell at them, put them down, act in a reactive, self-centered way? Is that energy of instant gratification more valuable than long-lasting fulfillment by acting like the light? We're making that decision every moment of every day. We just don't realize it. That's why we constantly emphasizing consciousness is everything. But you can't have consciousness, awareness, if you don't pause. If you don't pause, you're just a robot of your emotion that's being triggered. Which means, maybe make it a little more motivating for you, means that nasty person who said or did that nasty thing is controlling you and becomes your God. And I don't want to get into the rest of that, but think about it. Would you like that nasty person to be your God? Did you worship them? Why not? Because they're nasty, Chaim. They did that nasty thing. Well, of course. So when you react to them, when you act with the jealousy, the anger, the fear, the judgment, or whatever, you are making them your God. You are making them your idol. You are making them your master and controller because they just controlled you. They pushed your jealous button and you act with jealousy. Isn't that what your phone does? You push the 3, it shows 3. You push the 4, it shows 4. You can't push the 3 and it shows 4. You're the master of your phone. And that's why when you misdial, you're still the master of the mistake, right? You created it. So we create everything in our life. Let's wake up and start to realize we're creating our life moment by moment. Everything we do. We want to go back to the idea of love. Because how many of you would like to have more love in your life? How many of you wouldn't? Okay. Some of you just don't want to raise your hands. It's embarrassing because nobody's seeing you. Should I turn the camera around? They can all look at you? Okay. Oh, good. Okay. So, consciousness is everything. Let's add a stronger awareness if you're not familiar, or a greater level. When the Creator created us in the endless world, it created one vessel, one container, one soul. And the nature of that soul, and therefore the nature of every person on earth, is desire to receive fulfillment from the light. So we have no free will. That we have no free will over. Every human being on earth has, as at our essence, a want, desire for fulfillment. That's it. How we're going to be fulfilled, what will fulfill us, that's where our free will comes in. But there's no human being on earth who has the ability to not have a desire for fulfillment. Even those people who might tell you, no, their spiritual teaching says they should have no desire. It's a misunderstanding of what their teaching says. It's not that they don't want to have a desire, because as I've told them now for 30 some odd years, after I first heard this, the desire To have no desire is a desire. And what are they desiring? Fulfillment, enlightenment. Like we just said, that's given to us by the Creator, can never be undone. So our free will is only how to use our desire to see fulfillment. And that's where we either have greater harmony and order, or heaven forbid, greater chaos. Is that clear? You can never stop wanting. All you have to do is remember your childhood, remember children, or think about how you've been thinking all day. I want this, I want that, I want this. Even if it's, I want them to stop. It's still a desire, no? I want that chaos to go away. It's still a desire. Or even though, not you and me, of course, but people out there who are saying they want bad stuff to happen to that nasty person because they're not letting them have what they want. That's still a desire. Tell me anything that's not desire. Just that we'll understand everything is desire. So then we go back. So consciousness is everything. We can now look at it a little differently. Desire, because you'll read that in some of the ancient writings. Desire is everything. Because it's the same thing. The question is it conscious desire or unconscious desire? Okay. So in Kabbalistic language, which we all know, Hebrew, the DNA of the soul, the word for love is ahava. Now, you go back to the original system of the universe, which is what Kabbalah is about, and therefore it operates on every human being on earth. The word ahava is numerically 13. Yes, so I hear the opponent in some of your heads going, no wonder, love, then no love. And maybe even a little resentment, animosity, hatred, some of that. No? You don't know anybody like that who fell out of love, and not only fell out of love, but also has a lot of bad feelings towards somebody else, the person that they used to love? Exactly. So here, that opponent in some head is saying, 13, bad luck. No wonder that was a bad relationship, right? Okay, so then why be in love? Because love, whether it's good or bad, is 13. That's just the essence. Ahava is 13. Now, also though 13, which is really to the point today, 13 is also the numerical value of the word echad, unity, oneness. So if you think of a food you don't like. Okay, for me, liver in any form. Liver in any form. You can never ever share liver with me because I don't want it in any way, shape, or form. So would I tell you, I love liver? No. So I have no unity. I have no oneness with liver. Right? So in essence, I have no love for liver. If you think about the things you love, even that person who you didn't like at the end, why did you like them in the beginning? Why did you fall in love? Because somewhere along the line you thought there was a oneness. There's a oneness on some level, in some way. Right? Okay, so love is unity. It also happens to be 13, the numerical value of the word da'aga, which is care. Care. So the Rav and Karen used to tell us, because even the teachers, I must admit, we're also human. I know some of you didn't think we were. I don't know, maybe some of you thought we were AI, because that's now the big thing here, right? No, we're also human. So along the way, even among the teachers, we have friction. Okay, it's not about not having friction. But like Karen said, Karen used to tell us, you don't have to love each other, but at least you have to have care. Human dignity. Right? Care for another human being. Just treat another person with human dignity. In essence, care. So you have love, unity, bonding, oneness, and care. Care for that thing or that person. So that's the power of love. Now, Rav Ashlag, the founder of the center, writes, and we'll just do for today just two simple ways because he divides it in many forms. He says there are just, in essence, two levels to love. Right, as with another person. Let's stick to that. We love people because of what they give us, they do for us, or they mean to us. Right? They're doing something for us, right? They give us something and therefore we love them. Okay, I hope that's clear. That's probably the beginning of those relationships that you're no longer in, right? Whether they ended nicely or not nicely, right? There was something that they gave us, even if it was just a good feeling or whatever else it might have been, but they give us something, right? They do something for us. Then he says, of course, there's the other one, which is essentially, we'd say, unconditional. That we just have care, love for the person because they exist. Just because of who they are. Right? How many people, think of people that you know, that you love, that you're willing to sort of let go. Yes, I'm not saying you shouldn't discuss it or whatever, but you're not going to hold that against them and now no longer love them because they made a mistake, they said something offhand or whatever, right? We'll give them like the benefit of the doubt, we'll continue to love them. So even in that basic level, it's unconditional love, right? Yeah, in the moment I'm shocked, in the moment we'll have the discussion, we may have a little even friction in the discussion, but you get over it because that's your desire. You want to stay bonded to them because of who they are. Something about them, just their existence. Okay? So we'll keep it in simple terms like that. So when they give us something, I like to call that like a business exchange. It's just a business deal. You give me, I give you, you give me, I give you, you give me, and now we call it love. Right? And why do people fall out of love? So I'll give you a piece of that. So, okay, thank you. You start a relationship because of what they give you. So they've given you something, you put it in the container, let's call it, of the relationship. So of course, if they put something in that pot, you have to put something in also. Right? So you put, they put, you put, they put, you put, they put, you put, they put, it's great. But then after a while, what starts to happen? Then they take something from it, you take something from it. They take, you take, you take. When the pot's empty, that's when the relationship usually splits in either just a neutral way or in a bad way. Because then the person who took the last piece, the other person who's looking to now get from the relationship, sees that the pot is empty, there's nothing to take. And if that's been their consciousness, now they're angry at the other person for not giving them that piece that they want. And then can come all the bad feelings, right? Yes, take that home, work on it, and look back on your relationship and see if that's not true. Or should I put it in a more Kabbalistic way? See how that's exactly what happened in your relationship. Don't look if. See how that happened. That if you had the bad feeling, is because when you went to go take from that pot of the relationship, there was nothing left. You felt there was nothing left, and now you're a little upset or what have you. Or if it was them, look at the same way. How you took the last piece, and then when they were looking to get something, it wasn't there, so then they were the upset one. Because if you'll prove to yourself the validity of this system, another piece and another piece and another piece, it gives us more certainty and ability to use it. And if you use this system, it's a guarantee you will benefit. Because it is an exact system. Exact system. And there are exact cause and effect results. Okay? Okay. Let me give you 30 seconds. I think I threw a lot in there. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So when there's what we're seeking is true love, and we'll understand a fundamental way to have that. But now you're getting the idea of bonding. Bonding. Love is unity. Love is oneness. Love is care. So if you have a relationship, and it doesn't have to be romantic, it can be friendship, business, whatever, but you have a real circuitry of energy, right? Where it's two people truly just sharing unconditionally. So now if you think about it, you have 13 on one side, you have 13 on the other side, and some of you who've been around for a while already figuring this out. So if you add 13 and 13, what do you get? 26. And some of you, probably more of you online, no, some of you should know, 26 is the numerical value of the fundamental, the most known name of God, the Tetragrammaton. The Yud and the Hey and the Vav Hey, which most people consider the name of God, is 26, numerically 26. So true bonding, true love, brings in the light of the Creator. That's the concept. If it's just that business exchange, it doesn't necessarily mean that the light of the Creator is involved. Why? And it can also be in simple business, right? Think of most business. I give you, you give me. I give you the product, you give me the money, right? You give the service, I give you the money. All those things, business exchange. The light of the Creator in the consciousness of people doesn't really have to be there because it's just supply and demand, right? So in a relationship, it can be the same way. So it doesn't necessarily come with true light, or now we're understanding true love. And it doesn't mean that it's negative, but it's not the true bonding. Because if you're bound by the light, it's an eternal bond. If I take two pieces of paper and I hold them together, you could say, oh, they're bound. You know, they're bound, right? Because they're touching each other. But if I let go of it and there's no glue, what's going to happen? They fall apart. So any relationship in any way, even when it's a person to themselves, you and me to our own soul, if we're not bound to our soul with the light of the Creator, then there's no glue. And that's why people also don't feel the power of their soul and haven't seen it for thousands of years, which is why most people believe that they can't change the world, because they've never truly felt the power of their soul. Understanding that it is a piece of the Creator whose power created everything we see in the universe. We have that ability. Okay, so now let's go back. One soul. The endless world, there was only one soul created. It came into this world, the beginning of Genesis, as a human being. But it was only one human being. And for our discussion, it was one human being that had 8 billion parts to it. Right? Like a jigsaw puzzle. If you have a jigsaw puzzle of 8 billion parts, it's one picture, but it's made up of 8 billion parts. So that one being came out, and most of us know the biblical story. What happened next? It was split. However you want to understand it, was split into Adam and Eve. Okay, so there was one before that, then it was split. And then what happened after that? You and I, because if there were 8 billion pieces in that one and 8 billion pieces in Adam and Eve, then you and I are part of Adam and Eve. So don't look back at them and say, well, they did the wrong thing choosing the tree of knowledge, good and evil, because they are us. We did it, and we're doing it every day most of the time. Every time you're reactive, you're giving into the tree of knowledge, good and evil. Every time you're giving power to the idea of time, space, and motion to take control over you, then you're giving into the tree of knowledge, good and evil. When you're transcendent, when you're not bothered reactively because you're running late for something, then you're not letting time, space, and motion take control over you. And it's some aspect of being connected to the tree of life, because you're transcending the usual, oh my goodness, stress and anxiety because I'm running late, or whatever it be. Okay? So then if you understand now this one being split into 8 billion pieces, what does love mean? Putting back together the 8 billion pieces. If we started as one being and then split into 8 billion, years and years and years and years ago, I had a cousin in Arizona who bought a Volkswagen Bug, right, the little bugs, and to learn about all the mechanics and everything else, he took it apart. So I remember seeing his garage with all the pieces. Now, technically, did he have a complete Volkswagen Bug? Yes, because all the pieces were there. But did he have a drivable, usable Volkswagen Bug? No, because it was in pieces. So you understand? What did he have to do? He had to put all the pieces back together into the original Bug. So in the same way, that one being that split into Adam and Eve and then all the rest of us has to be put back together. Now you're getting the idea. If you just like this, if you just hold it like this, you didn't really put it together, right? So now, hopefully this gives you a new understanding of the concept of love your neighbor as yourself. Doesn't mean, oh, how religious you are, spiritual, moral, ethical, whatever. No, it's just simple functionality. If you think of you and me, each individual is 8 billion pieces. So if, like the pieces of that Volkswagen laying all over the floor, or in our case as human beings, spread out all over the world, then we're not functional. So let me ask you the question, because I know some of you may not be grasping it, and that opponent's fighting very hard to make you not understand. Do you have any sense of lack in any way, shape, or form in your life? Yes or yes? I don't care, little, lot, you have a sense of lack, any way, shape, or form. Why? Because you're missing pieces of your totality. You are made up of 8 billion pieces. I'm made up of 8 billion pieces. Each person on earth is made up of 8 billion pieces. That's why the Kabbalists say you need to feel, understand, and think that the entire world was created for you. Not like a king, not with an ego, but meaning everything out there is to give you the lesson of how to reconnect all 8 billion parts of you and understand what's separating you from a piece of you that's causing more lack and more discord and challenges and obstacles and, for some people, terrible experiences. And that's why also then they say, when you save one life, you save the world. Because now you understand every human being on earth is a world to themselves. And again, not as in fragmentation, not as in divisiveness, but meaning I am complete and total. And if I activate everything inside me, I am missing nothing. And just to go there, because my personal tikkun coming up is with this AI stuff. Again, not in a bad way or like that. As we get more and more to our potential, there's nothing that AI or a computer can do that we can't do. Nothing. Like the Rav made it very simple. Who created the computer? Human beings. So then, in simple terms, if the computer didn't create a human being, and don't say, well, now maybe it can, because it's already been created by a human being, the computer to create a human being, it still started with a human being. So, power we've got. So when you read the stories of Abraham teleporting, or telepathy, or all these things, levitation, transmutation of matter, we have that same power. The only thing they're showing us is our potential. They're not showing us they're an exception to the rule. There is no human being ever in history who's ever been an exception to that rule. Every human being, I don't care who you pick, is an example of the rule, of what we can achieve in our level. Yes, we may not be able to achieve the same on their level, but they achieved 100% and they did teleportation and transmutation, all of that. We can do the same thing in our level. Our 100%, our full creator nature. But it's only that upon our head says, well, look at all that you've done in your past. Look at all the chaos and look where you couldn't do this, that, or the other thing. Okay, so you couldn't do it then, doesn't mean you can't do it now. Michael Jordan. You know Michael Jordan? Anyone not know who Michael Jordan is? One of the greatest basketball players ever? Well, I think it was high school, he was rejected from the varsity team. So if he had said, oh, that's it, he wanted to be a basketball player, got rejected in high school, we wouldn't know who Michael Jordan is. But what did, in essence, Michael Jordan decide? He decided he had the inner ability to be one of the greatest basketball players ever, so he didn't give in to the fact that he wasn't picked for the varsity team in high school. He just trained more, and trained more to bring more of his potential out. So when your opponent makes you look back and say, yeah, but you failed here and this didn't work and you're not good at that, this or the other thing, don't let that be the guide or the rule that has to be for this moment forward. If it's in your heart and soul that you really feel from your heart, not from your brain and desire to see oneself alone, but you have the capability to achieve big things, go out and seek doing big things. Don't let the opponent in your head make you play small because of all the mistakes you may have made up to now, or whatever you felt you weren't able to do. The only thing I'm predicating on, make sure that it's a desire to share. It's not, oh, I want to be the biggest business person on earth so everybody will respect me, or I'll prove those people wrong. Wrong consciousness. It'll only bring more chaos and more discord. Even if it brings you $1 billion, it's not going to be blessed. The condition of anything to be lasting fulfillment is the light of the Creator. And so this is why we go back. What's love your neighbor as yourself? When you can see every human being on earth is you. Because if you think about now the way we presented it, and this actually, I have to tell you, just was revealed to me Friday night, Saturday. Had this revelation, how to explain this. So if I'm made up of 8 billion pieces, and you're made up of 8 billion pieces, and everyone on earth 8 billion pieces. So if you think in that term, it's a simple way to realize then your totality is in them and them and them and them and them. You follow? There's a piece of each of you here and each of you online, essentially in me. Right? There's a piece of me in each and every one of you. If you're following that idea from the one soul. So love your neighbor yourself means I want to see in each person I encounter, and even in consciousness, every human being on earth. And it doesn't matter who they are. It's every human being, even the bad actors, even the good actors. Doesn't matter. Inside somebody who's doing terrible things today is still a piece of my soul, a piece of your soul. The beauty of this system is when you're scanning your Zohar or you're praying and meditating and sending light out of your heart and soul to those people, even in spite of what they're externally doing, you're accessing your piece of light, drawing more of it to you to be used in your life for greater clarity, peace, protection, prosperity, love, in the case we're talking about, right? In all the ways, better business, better children, better whatever. Just more peace of mind, less stress and chaos. And the beauty of the system is it's only win-win or lose-lose. So by accessing your piece of your soul in that person who's acting badly, you're also awakening the light inside them, which is the only thing that's going to get them eventually to stop doing their bad stuff. Because let's look, so much chaos going on in the world. Why? Why so much divisiveness? I already shared with you. What is the person on the other side of your vision? Okay, whoever you pick, whatever argument there is in the world. What is the desire of each side? Fundamentally, I already shared it with you. The Creator gave us an infinite desire for fulfillment, but from the light. Every person on earth is seeking that fulfillment. Like we said, the free will is how do you use it. So whatever divided discussion you're talking about, each side wants fulfillment, but essentially for themselves. Read the book On World Peace by Rav Ashlag. He talks about the destroyers and the builders. And that doesn't mean that they're bad people. Even you and I, to some extent, are destroyers of the world. Every time we give in to a desire to see oneself alone. We're not building the world. We're tearing down a piece. We're adding to the scales of negativity. Every time we act in a proactive way, overcome, and really make the effort to share on a higher level, then we're putting more on this scale of love and kindness and goodness of the light. So we're deciding what the balance looks like. Not the Creator and not them. You and I are. For us individually and then ultimately collectively, yes. We're deciding. We're deciding. So you got to remember, I want to see every person as a piece of me. And this is why we understand the Baal Shem Tov, One of the great Kabbalists in the 1600s made it simple. Every person, everything is a mirror of you. So think of the mirror when you wake up in the morning and whatever, you put your makeup, do your hair, brush your teeth, whatever it is you do. When you look in the mirror, are you shocked because it doesn't look like you? That's one of those science fiction movies, right? You put your face in front of it and it looks like some stranger you never met. No, I know sometimes we feel that way, I get it. When you wake up in that side of the bed, right? But you look in the mirror, you're familiar, it looks like you. So our job is, when I look at you guys, not to just see you. Yes, I love seeing your good faces and please keep showing up and you online, but I have to see me through that. So however I look at you is how I see me. So when you look at those people and you're judging those people in some way or another, you got to look back at you and say, how are you doing a similar thing? A similar, not on the same level, but similar. Similar. For me, and you probably heard me say it because I want to keep engraving it in our consciousness, you and I can act with impatience, and the only difference between our impatience and murder and robbery and all the terrible stuff going on in the world is the degree, not the material. They're impatient, they want it now, so they kill, rob, all the rest of the stuff. You and I have impatience, but on a lesser level. But it's the same thing, impatience is impatience. So every time we're adding to our impatience, we're adding to those people who are acting with violence and thievery and all the rest of the bad stuff. Or we can do the opposite. When we overcome our impatience and act with patience and tolerance and compassion, then we're adding to those people in their scales, we're adding to the side of compassion and kindness and taking away from their impatience. Because we're all one. We're all one. That's why it's either lose-lose or win-win. There's no win-lose. Win-lose is only a temporary illusion. No such thing. So, wow. Okay. So I just throw it out now because I want to finish. I want to do our meditations. The Kabbalists explain the major blockage to this: love your neighbor as yourself, or even loving yourself. I mean, there are a lot of people I know look in the mirror and they don't like what they see. They have all the bad stuff to say and the judgments and whatever. Okay, so if a person could look in the mirror and judge themselves and take themselves to task, why wouldn't you expect them to be able to do the same thing with the other 8 billion people on the planet? Right? If a person curses themselves, why wouldn't they curse other people? If a person is judging themselves, why shouldn't they judge other people? Same thing. That's why it's so important, right? We say here, I have to keep doing it more often. I realize I haven't done it in a while. I am a pure and perfect being of light. I am a pure and perfect being of light. You are a pure and perfect being of light. That's how the Creator created us. The rest is just the illusion of the covering, the mud that's on us. Take the mud away, every person, even the robbers and the murderers and the greedy people, whatever you want to call them, they're also pure and perfect beings of light, just covered in the mud of the greed or the whatever else it is. Take away their mud, they're the same pure beings as we are. So the Kabbalists say, fundamentally, the thing that blocks us, is called an uncircumcised heart. Yeah, I know. People usually think of what circumcised is. So let's look at it this way. Meaning there's a layer of greed, judgment, anger, guilt, hurt, insensitivity covering the heart that has to be removed. And it's those layers of negativity that cause all the hard-heartedness, cold-heartedness, all the other things you want to call it, the separation, right? And people, with the help of their opponent, will validate it. They were cheated on, of course, so they're hurt. You know, something happened, they've seen it over and over again, this one, hurt them, this one cheated on them, this one broke their heart, blah, blah, blah. So they have reason to put those layers and have those layers blocking their heart. But as you're understanding now, the heart, which is in essence the seat of the piece of our soul that is love, if that's blocked, then how can you create a bond even with your children, even with your loved ones? There's a piece missing. We need to realize that. Yes, you may love them a lot. Doesn't mean you can't love them in this way more, be more bonded on a soul level by shining more light. Just let your light shine unconditionally. And that doesn't mean people pleasing. Remember, de'aga, care, doesn't mean, oh, I have to be sensitive to their side, so I want to do whatever they want. No, I'm not talking about people pleasing. You can love your neighbors yourself, and you can have true care for another person and still tell them where they're making a mistake, tell them where you're not going to allow them to behave that way toward you, etc. But we love. But we love and care for them. So it doesn't mean people pleasing, and it doesn't mean being nasty and telling them off, right? And cursing them while you're telling them what they can't do and how they treated you so badly and all the rest of it. No, it's finding the balance in the light, shining the light constantly so you're in balance, and then you'll say the right words that will touch their heart. You could say the same words without love, and it doesn't get to their heart. So they're not going to change long term. If you say the words filled with light, you reach into their heart through their uncircumcised layers of hurt and the anger and the rest, because like will attract like. And that will start to work and grow inside them till eventually they will change. So the Bible says, some of you know it as the Shema, Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. What it's saying Kabbalistically means there's only one light. Whatever name you call God, there's only one infinite light. And when it says to love God with all your heart, all your soul, and all your might, it means love it with the two hearts, as the Kabbalists call it. The heart of pure love, of the light of the Creator, and the heart that's also giving people that desire to see oneself alone, that's guided by the opponent. The self-centeredness and the anger and all the rest of it. The one wanting to take out of the relationship. You use both those to shine light on people. So we came into this world, and I wrote it so nicely, I want to just read it. We came into this world to use the light of our soul to enlighten the world and remove the darkness of the world, and to remove the disconnection between souls, between people, in order to recreate on earth what we experienced in the endless world. How do we do that? By you and me doing more to share our light, even as you and I understand, spreading the Zohar, the books of the Zohar, and bring people to this wisdom. Because this is the technology how every human being can see through whatever aspect of the physical world they're caught up in, even if it's in a religious or spiritual area, but we can see through. So by spreading the Zohar and this consciousness, this wisdom, and the tools to transform ourselves, eventually, as we do more and more of it, we will attract a critical amount of people who will be doing the same thing. They'll also be doing those uncomfortable efforts of sharing, of transformational sharing, and that, as they're revealing the light, will start to tip the scales of the world from chaos and darkness and discord and pain and suffering into the world of peace and love and joy and unity, which is what heaven on earth is made up of, and where we can enjoy eternal blessings. God bless. Me too. I see someone writes, I like this lesson. Me too. Just along the way, in the 2 weeks that I was gone, I began to appreciate what we learn here in the center really on a new level. And I've been doing this for years and years and years. I've seen all kinds of miracles, personal and students and family members. But appreciation is something you can never have too much of. The Kabbalists teach us that appreciation is the vessel. It expands our vessel to be able to receive more blessings, right? If I took this coffee cup to the ocean, I can only get whatever this is, 12 ounces of ocean water, yes? If I take a gallon container, I can get a gallon, because the ocean is essentially infinite, relatively, so it depends on the container will determine how much we get. So appreciation is just expanding my vessel more and more towards its full capacity, so that means that more of the blessings that the Creator already gave us can be manifest. So I just grew because I started to see how people fall into various illusions. And it was just so empowering, because after a while you start to take some of this, especially as a teacher, I teach teach individually, one-on-one, teaching classes, etc. So it's easy at a certain level to kind of fall into the taking for granted. Okay, I know Kabbalah 1, 2, 3, this concept, that concept is great and wonderful, but you kind of, sort of get in that groove kind of thing. But by seeing what other people think and how they look at things and how they find challenges in their life, and I'm realizing, oh my goodness, we teach in Kabbalah 1 how to deal with that. And so when I shared some things with people along the way, it was like, wow, that's amazing. I never heard that. So for me, it was a greater amount of appreciation what we have. Over the years, how can I put it in a simple way? Even the first few years I was a teacher, I came with very little background in any of this. So I started to learn. So along the way, when I met people who were scholarly in tradition, and I would ask them some simple Kabbalah 1 questions, even after 30, 40, 50 years of traditional study, they couldn't give me an answer. And most of them looked at me with disdain. Why? Because I was pointing out, not intentionally, but essentially from their point of view, I was pointing out what they didn't know. And here I was in their mind, like a nobody, right? Like new off the street, and basically telling them things that they, quote, should have known, but didn't know because they weren't learning Kabbalah. But they were learning all the traditional stuff. So they'd have disdain not only for me, but also for the center along the way. Why? Because the center was teaching every person who knew nothing in Kabbalah 1 more than people who had studied the traditional writings or whatever for years and years and years, more than they knew. So if their ego was getting them, their opponent was controlling them, they would have disdain for me and the students of the center and the center. Instead of saying, wait, if this person who's brand new to Kabbalah knows this, and this person who's been studying for years and years the other traditional stuff doesn't know it, wouldn't you think that they should say, start studying what they're studying and add to what I know? Because you add some Kabbalah to what they know, it's going to multiply what they know exponentially. You follow? They'll have a deeper meaning. They'll be able to help other people more powerfully. It's not that all that was a waste, but it's like having a Lamborghini or some expensive fast car, but not having gasoline. So it's not like throw away the car and get the gasoline. No, take the gasoline and put it in the Lamborghini and then go. That's what you and I are doing. So you and I, now relative to what we were saying, we are like that. We're 100% pure and perfect beings of light. We have all this tremendous ability, power, what have you. We just have to use it. So what we're learning here is how to do that. And this is why it is essential. Like we said, let's get to the tipping point. If we can spread more books of the Zohar, even this, and I just want to tell you, because I have an inside tract, this year we are already just almost exactly, it'll probably be maybe another month if that, we will have doubled since last year the amount of Zohar books we've been able to give away because of your donations, those of you online and the other students of the center. Because of your support, we are able to give these away. Last year, we gave away 50,000. At this point, we are almost at, landed on a million times, 100,000. And hopefully by next year, at least double or triple that, right? Maybe even more. Exactly. No, it is. Because everywhere this goes, so goes the blessings, love, kindness, and even if it makes people feel bad because of their bad behavior, that's also transformation. Because when you and I feel bad enough about our bad behavior, we'll stop, no? Okay. So this is the time that we do our offering. Just simply that. It's blessing whatever you can give to the center and empower 8 billion pieces of you. And remember, even this, yes, you're giving through the center, not to the center. Let's make that distinction. Because all the center does with your donations, your generosity, is like this. Scholarship funds for people who can't afford to take classes but want to, or the ability to print and distribute more of these books. The books of the Zohar like this, the sacred Zohar, the sets of Zohar, whatever. So you're essentially improving your life, and win-win, helping other people on earth do the same thing. So this is why we take these few minutes just to bless the offering. So, yes, somebody here writing, I carry my pocket Zohar everywhere I go. Yes, and I'll be very transparent with you. It's for the first few years, we didn't have these. We didn't get these actually pocket Zohars until about 1990, I think it was. We actually came out with a pocket size. So I didn't have these to carry around. We used to carry this big suitcase with books, knocking on doors, so we had Zohar in that. Right? So even when we got these, okay, I was still carrying my suitcase or various things, but the last 6 years or so, I make sure also that I've got in my pocket of my pants or my pocket of my jacket, I don't want to go anywhere without the Zohar because I see what's going on. Okay? So let's just do it, and then we want to do our meditation on our 72 name. So we'll do that. So just hold your offering in your hands. Those of you online, just meditate with us, and I put the link that you can make your donation through Spiritual Sunday. Thank you. Just to have gratitude and appreciation. We want to fill the vessel of this donation with the light of love, kindness, compassion, gratitude, and appreciation. So it's giving our added boost, if you will, to the light as it goes out to the world through the spread of the Zohar, through the classes that we teach, touching the heart and soul of 8 billion people. And just appreciate that the Creator's given us the ability to be able to support this awakening so that people will have their piece of heaven on earth, their piece of the Garden of Eden, with mercy. Because it's awakening inside them the awareness of what their true potential is, and at the same time helping them feel more discomfort with their reactive behavior, feeling more determined to beat the opponent and overcome the opponent in their head, who's led them down the path of pain, suffering, and chaos. And we know that by touching the heart and soul and our piece of our soul in 8 billion people, that the blessing of this gift can grow, that we'll be able to give more and do more. 3, 4, 5, 10 times and more over. And together we say, Amen. So thank you. Okay, so this you have online. This is one of the 72 names. If you're not familiar, the Hebrew letters were not created by any human being. They are simply the physical manifestation of 22 primordial aspects of the light of the Creator, like photons of the light of the Creator. And therefore, as we're just looking, scanning the shapes, in this combination in particular, Hey Hey Ein is the name for unconditional love, which means it's the function button as we just let the energy shine through our eyes, pushes that button of unconditional love inside of us and gives us greater strength to behave on higher and higher levels of unconditional love. So just remember the letters, Hey Hey Ein. Let the shapes be engraved in your mind's eye. And then if I can ask you, sit comfortably in your seat, feet flat on the floor, hands on your lap. Just taking in a few deep breaths, breathing in through the nose. Hold the breath for a moment. Exhale through the mouth. Allowing a circulation of the light of the Creator that exists in our breath, in the air. Through drawing new energy, letting it flow through us. And as you exhale, allowing another aspect of your negativity, illusion, limited thinking to be removed from your being. Breathing in greater light, exhaling limitation. Allowing yourself to relax into the light of the Creator, consciously acknowledging, experiencing, being enveloped in the warmth of the light, which is this ultimate unconditional love, the pure bonding energy, the adhesive that allows us to be bonded together. And as we use the light more and more consciously to strengthen that bond, that we can reassemble the 8 billion pieces of ourselves individually and the world collectively. And so now envision the Hey Hey Ein above your head, shining and vibrating with pure unconditional love. The true ultimate power of oneness and unity of the one soul that exists in this world. And so now draw the Hey Hey Ein through the top of your head, and let the energy of unconditional love travel from head to toe, activating in every cell of your physical body the unconditional light of love that exists in every cell. Be aware of the feeling of this higher vibration, this greater energy of unconditional love that's awakened inside you. Consciously feel, experience the warmth, the vibration, the joy that this awakening of unconditional love is bringing inside you. How it's already dissipating some of your lack, limitations, insensitivity, the uncaring, hurt part of you. So let's allow the Hey Hey Ein to be centered in our hearts. And let's decide to use the Hey Hey Ein, this power, to remove the layers of whatever may be blocking our heart. Hurt feelings, anger, jealousy, judgment, animosity, perhaps even hatred. Allow the energy of the Hey Hey Ein to expand inside your heart. Hold consciously the thought, the truth, that in every person on earth is a piece of your soul, a piece that allows you to achieve your 100% blessings. So beam a beam of light out from your heart with the support of the Hey Hey Ein. Let it go out in 8 billion directions. And as it's going out from your heart, see, feel, hear the removal of some of that mud, of the hurt, the anger, the jealousy, the judgment that was there covering your heart. Allowing your pure heart to be more and more freed from the limitations and the darkness, those layers of mud. And see and vision the light that you can now see more clearly emanating from you to the heart and soul of 8 billion human beings. And see in them that same awakening, that your love has pierced their blockages, their layers of mud over their heart, and awakening the heart of God inside them. Notice the shift in them. Feel it. Hear the way their mind is thinking differently, listening more to the voice of their soul and diminishing the voice of the opponent in their head. More and more people, because of this energy we're throwing out there, waking up, being drawn to this wisdom, to this technology, the technology of the soul, to return us back to oneness, pure love, ultimate unity and peace. For you personally, take a closer look at the beam of light that you've extended out to one person that you've had some issue with, some divisiveness. See that beam of light, that unconditional love as it extends through their layers of mud to their heart of God. And notice how you feel less and less hurt, less and less upset. And just more peace. Even compassion for that person. Decide that you're going to remember this this feeling, this new energy, this awakening, and commit yourself to make it grow, strengthen, intensify the love you're sending out to all 8 billion parts of you. Strengthen your desire for the end of the pain and suffering and chaos in the world, in your world. To be motivated to extend this light, hey, hey, ein, every day, from this day forward. And together we take one more deep breath, anchoring and solidifying this commitment, and slowly exhale and open your eyes. Those of you here in the Boca Center, thank you for joining us. Those of you who are online, thank you for being with us. Please make sure in a few minutes this will be on there. Just share it. Share it on your social media. Let other people have access. However it will touch their heart and soul, it will improve their life, and hopefully they'll continue to share it. 6 degrees of separation will touch 8 billion people, and we'll hit the tipping point. Thank you. God bless. Have a great week. Thank you for joining us. If you liked what you saw, subscribe to this channel that you'll be notified when we post new videos. Share the video with your friends, they can also benefit. And check out the website, www.kabbalah.com, that's Kabbalah, for hundreds of articles and classes. Wish you an amazing day, and God bless.